Welcome back to the Community Resource Minute. I'm Todd Blanton, the one-stop operator for the Kentucky Career Center. And on today's edition, we have a special guest with us, Mr. Christian Wellman. Christian, welcome. Christian is with the Ikorcc, so we're glad to have him. We're going to learn a little bit about their program. So Christian, welcome in.
Thank you. Yeah, so my name is Christian Wellman. I'm a business representative with the Carpenters Union here in Lexington. And out of the Lexington office, we do cover the 3 states, Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio. So the Ikorcc stands for Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio Regional Council of Carpenters. But thank you for having me, Todd.
Great, Christian. So, we had you on today. We've heard that you guys are recruiting for a lot of positions. So we wanted to get you on and let you tell about the positions, what types of positions you have, how many, and just get some info. That way our viewers can get some info. That way if they're interested, they kind of know what they're looking at. So if you'll tell us a little bit about that, that'd be great.
Yes, sir. So we have tons of opportunities coming to the state of Kentucky. We have the Blue Oval project that's actually going to Hardin County. They're looking at that to hire up to 1,500 carpenters at its peak. We have Baptist Health Hospital here in Lexington. That's a big project itself. Currently, we have about 50 to 60 members there, and it's going to eventually grow, so we need a lot more membership for that to cover it. The levels itself, it could be entry level from having no experience. We do have an apprenticeship that teaches you all aspects of carpentry. That's just the reason behind it, so you're all around. You're not specialized in one specific area. So if somewhere to slow down with a certain contractor, you're able to go to a different contractor and still continue to work. And it's up to the individual if they want to travel with that same contractor or do something different. Position-wise, if you had to put a number, it's kind of tough to put it depending on each market, but it definitely be in the hundreds itself that we're looking to get in all levels. Like I said, if you do have experience, there's opportunity if you have at least 5 years of commercial-based construction that you can enter as a journeyman or journey person, because we do accept men and women and anybody in between.
Gotcha. So can you talk a little bit about the requirements to join, and if somebody was interested, what kind of requirements that they would need to meet to be able to join?
Yeah, so for our apprenticeship itself, the requirements, it's a high school diploma or GED. And if you have some credits, they might be able to help you out if you have college credits on there too. And then state ID, state issued ID, or just an ID with your photo, whether it's a passport, driver's license, or state issued ID. And the reason behind the ID parts is to get you to the closest training center that's available, since we have multiple ones in the state.
Can you talk me through a typical day of somebody if they joined? Is there travel involved, classroom time? Can you just give us kind of a rundown of what a typical day might look like for somebody?
Yeah, so a typical day, depending on whether if you're going to class itself, on the classroom setting, it's a 1-week class every 3 months. So in those 3 months, you're working in the field itself, depending on the contractor you're working for, whether it's a subcontractor in the field, whether they're doing concrete or interior systems, or for instance, roofing or solar work. We're getting involved in solar a lot too as well. Or if you're doing a general contractor, which does a little bit of everything, do it from the ground up. So the typical day will vary depending on who you're working for. Same thing with our millwrights. They work in the automotive industry and the power industry. So the travel-wise itself depends where you live at. If you're more in the city or closer to a bigger city like Lexington, Danville, Richmond, Louisville, the work would be a lot closer to you because of the developments and the projects that are being involved. If you're more in the rural outskirts, you would, just like a normal job, you would typically have some form of drive. But with construction in general, a good rule of thumb, it's anywhere within an hour and a half on average. A lot of times it'll be close to home. Sometimes it might be some traveling. But the good thing about us, we do have various contractors, so you don't have to work for one specifically if you don't want to. Let's say if they're traveling for work outside, and I know with having family and life in general happening, traveling could be tough depending on the situation. So you would just be laid off and go to a different contractor, and the pay wouldn't change depending where you're at. So if you're an apprentice at a certain level or a journeyman, depending on the area you're working in, it does matter on that though. But on a classroom setting, like I said, it's 1 week every 3 months. So you're in school 1 month out of the whole year. During those times, you are working, getting paid as work as you learn. every 2 classes though. So every 6 months roughly, you get a 5% raise, and it's all based out of that journeyman skill.
Talk a little bit about the different jobs and then kind of go into the pay and benefits for somebody who's a working member of the Ikorcc.
Yes. So the jobs itself, it is more commercially based. So of course, the typical answer that somebody would think of a carpenter be somebody who's building houses or working on a house or building on that. So for us, we are more on a commercial basis. We do have areas that do residential too, but it's on the industrial and commercial. There we do it from anywhere from concrete formwork. We work in schools, hospitals, of course, places like Ford, Toyota, we're into as well. In the industrial sectors, we work in different factories and out, whether it's on the maintenance aspect or taking apart the machinery or moving the machineries. We're on the flooring aspect, so whether it's from carpet tile to hospital flooring itself, which is kind of welded in its seams, to really working in different places like Rupp Arena where you could do the flooring there, or the commercial end on that. The pay itself, that's really the reason in a way that kind of led me to join the Carpenters Union itself, and the benefits on top of that. It ranges from a first-year apprentice without having any experience. In our area in Lexington, it's $17.09, and could go up to a journeyman, which is $28.49 as of now. We do have an annual cost of living raise, which comes every June 1st, and that depends on the contract of the area. So it typically raises up every year, and on the apprentice pay, it's all based out of that journeyman scale. So $17.09 is 60% of the journeyman, and every 2 months, so every 6 months, I'm sorry. So every 2 classes, it raises up 5%. So you're looking at 3 raises as an apprentice, as long as you're working, getting your hours, and going to class. 1 for the annual cost of living, and 2 for the classes.
Okay. So,
then, sorry, Todd, I forgot to kind of go in depth on the benefit side of it all. The benefit side, so even as an apprentice and a journeyman, depends on where you're working in. We do have a healthcare, so it's dental, vision, and healthcare for you and your family. So if you were to have either 0 dependents to 10 dependents under you, it would cover them at no extra charge on that. And then we do have an annuity, which is like a 401k. Of course, it goes with the stock market, but on there, it's not you put money per hour there or per check. It's the contractors per hour putting it in for you. So it's not like 401k where they'll have to match you or you have to put a certain amount in there. And we do have a traditional pension too as well, which that for a full pension itself, it's a 30-year and out. Well, minimum age is 55 to retire, but to have full pension is 30 years. It does take 5 years to vest into that pension.
All right, so yeah, great paying benefits for somebody that's interested. So that kind of leads me into talking about a little bit with Christian about how does somebody apply, how long are your applications open, just kind of the application process itself.
Yes, Todd. So on the application itself, if you're going to join the apprenticeship itself, it's an online application. They went paperless now. Of course, if you weren't able to, we could always help you out in one of our facilities, whether it's on the local level or the council, to kind of fill it out. I know depending on the people's circumstances, whether you have accessibility to it, you would go to ikorcctraining.com, and that's to start the application process. And then on the local level, you would attend the local office, which is close to you. If you could go on that same website or go to ikorcc.com and see which is the closest office or local for you. And that way you can talk to a representative to see if it's closest to you and when they're available to come in and fill out the local application on there. And application, the openings, we take applications all year round because we have work all year round. It's not kind of seasonal, depending on the specific scope that you're doing. It could be kind of more work hours during the summers or spring compared to the winter, but we have contractors that work all year round and have opportunities all year round.
All right. So if somebody had questions, is there a specific person they should contact before applying?
Well, in the Lexington office, we have 3 representatives that cover here, which is myself, and then we have Jeff Cottle and Josh Tharp. If they live closer to the Eastern Kentucky side, then that'd be on that. We have an office in the Grayson Ashland area. And then if they live closer to Shelbyville on to Louisville, then they would call that office. And we have one in Western Kentucky too, as well in Paducah. So really the best route, I would say, if they have any questions, would be to go to that website or Google it and see which is the closest local or council office there. And then I know sometimes we cover a wide range of areas, but if they call any of the offices, they should direct that person in the right office closest to them.
All right, great. Well, is there anything else that you'd like us to know about the Ikorcc, Christian, before we finish up here?
I know one thing is kind of inputs, my personal story, and kind of touch base, and I'll make it short and simple, but it definitely changed my life. I worked on even before, of course, the industry itself, construction. It's I personally like that. I like working with my hands, but the Ikorcc definitely gave me the opportunity to definitely better myself. And depending on the circumstance where I came from, in a single parent household where we always rented for a living, it gave me the opportunity to finally have something more settled down in a career path that I didn't have to worry, well, am I going to get laid off and not have any benefits or any opportunities in the future? So it definitely changed my life for the better. And hopefully our goal is to help other people too as well.
Well, Christian, I really appreciate your time today. It sounds like there's a lot of opportunity for somebody that's interested in getting down this pathway, because like you said, it's definitely a career. It's not just a job. So we appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us this morning. Glad to have you. And in the future, more opportunities come up, we'd love to have you back so we can hear more about the great things that you guys are doing there.
Thank you very much, Todd. I appreciate the opportunity to be on with you.
Thanks, Christian. And that's it for today's edition of the Community Resource Minute. Join us next time, and be sure to share this to all your folks on social media. That way we can get the word about the great opportunities that they have at the Ikorcc. Thanks.